So, as you might have noticed, we're going to start playing Factorio. And I'm going to tell you something about Factorio. It's a long and oftentimes tedious game. And that's not to say it's a bad game. It's actually very good. It's the best kind of tedium. The tweaking of a system to make it as efficient as possible. But that means it's not going to be as normal of a Let's Play as some of our other series have been. So, this is going to be the technical guide to Factorio. Woo! Everyone's happy. What we're going to do is I'm going to go through the basic systems that I use in order to go from Stone Age equipment to actual large factories. And as you might have be able to tell from what we already have right here, our first episode will be the automation of the most basic resources, iron plates and copper plates. These are used to produce everything else in Factorio until we get to the point of actually mining oil, whereas then there's a whole new system we have to deal with, but that'll come a lot later. For now, let's actually parse out our goals. Our long-term goals are going to be to create a defensive system to defend us from terrible, terrible biters. They are the worst. Nobody likes them, but we don't really have an effective defensive system. So we're going to need turrets, and those will protect us. But in order to do that, we need to produce copper and iron. We need a good electrical system, and we need to be able to produce the ammunition for those, as well as actually research them to begin with. So those will be our basic goals. Our goal for this episode is exclusively to get up a system that automatically produces both iron and copper. Once we're done with that, we can move on to a lot more interesting stuff. So let's get right into it and start checking out what we're doing. So, when you start out in Factorio, you only have a few things. Let's look at our inventory. We've got 8 plates of iron, 1 burner mining drill, and 1 stone furnace, as well as a pistol and a few rounds, but those won't be important, trust me. We'll be fine. Rule number 1, well, not really rule, but the first thing we need to do is find an actual place to set up. We need a few different things. We need water, iron, copper, and coal. The quantities aren't that important. You just need a decent amount of iron and copper. And then as we move forward, we will expand our system. But this looks like a pretty good area, actually. We've got a coal deposit here as well as here. A nice iron deposit and a nice copper deposit, as well as a few other small ones all around. So we'll start out here. The first thing that we need to do is get, as has been said previously, get a copper line and an iron line all set up. So to do that, we first need to get the basic fuel of everything in the world, which is coal. So in order to mine things, you hold right click, but as you can see, this is not terribly effective. The bar on the bottom with the yellow and the black, that is how close we are to mining it. It's not very good. Luckily, we do start with iron plates, and can thereby make us an iron pick to significantly speed up the entire process. So we're going to get ourselves a bit of coal, which is the basic fuel for everything, and we're going to throw that in our burner mining drill to make some additional coal. And the first thing we're going to do is mass produce coal. Well, I say mass produce, we're going to make a tiny little quantity, literally a disgusting quantity. What we need in order to create this very first initial section is the burner mining drill and 1 singular wood chest. There we go. We've got our wood chest. We're going to put it right at the entrance to the burner mining drill, and it's just going to pump a ton of coal into there so that we don't have to mine it up ourselves. What we're going to have to mine up, though, is iron, because, you know, we need iron to even make another one of these burner mining drills. That's the very basic form of drill that we have. So let's get ourselves some iron ore, and this will take a while, so, you know, you gotta sit back, relax, sip a cup of tea, and of course do some hard manual labor as you try to bring up as much iron ore as you possibly can with a tiny little pick that apparently you can wield in one hand. It's ridiculous. Okay, so now we've got 15 iron ore. Very basic. Very simple. Everyone knows what 15 iron ore looks like. It looks like that. Actually, that looks also like what one single iron ore looks like. But that's okay, don't worry about it. We're going to put down our stone furnace. And we're going to throw our iron ore in there. Lots of iron ore. Gotta love it. And we'll throw some coal in there as well. Although we do need to put some more coal in our burner mining drill. Because, you know, we gotta do that. And in case you're wondering, no, we will not be using the burner mining drill forever. In fact, one of the basic things we're going to need to do is get electricity running. But we can't start electricity without first getting some iron. Okay, with a little think, we will come to the conclusion that the best move is to create another burner mining drill. Now there is one thing that I forgot to check for when we started out this compound, and that was stone. Stone is actually very important. Stone is how you build the basic furnaces. We need 5 stone to build 1 stone furnace, which goes into any burner mining drill. So we're going to make a new one, and we're going to make a drill to produce iron. And of course, we'll have a chest where all of that iron ore goes into. And then eventually we can smelt it. This is literally, there is no automation in this first initial area. So if you're looking for giant factory floors right now, get out. Just leave. Just turn around, walk out. Get your butt out of here. Don't worry, we will get to it. There's a reason that this first episode is going to be entirely the creation of an iron and copper production line. That is the very basis of getting to even the simplest manufacturing. So we're going to throw some coal in there, and we're going to start producing iron. So with that, we should probably try to get some basic electronics set up. So, not electronics, electrics. We need to create electricity. How we do that is we have to use a few different pieces. An offshore pump, a steam engine, a boiler, and a few pipes, as well as some electrical poles. But we'll, you know, you always need electrical poles. So we need to get some copper. Copper is the basic element of electronics, in case you didn't know that. That's the case in, like, real life as well. Copper is pretty darn important. It's not, like, I mean, there's also silica and gold, stuff like that. But copper is still pretty important. I give it, like, a 9 out of 10 for importance. So that's pretty good. What do we got here? We'll throw some more coal back in there. The number one thing we don't want running out of coal is that burner mining drill, because then we're going to have to, you know, restart it with coal that we produce, and that's terrible. I hate that. That's disgusting. Wretched. So, okay, we can now build a single offshore pump with this quantity of copper. Apparently it takes 3 copper. You can see by the total raw, if you go to the bottom of this pull-down menu that shows up when we do the offshore pump, I will highlight it. You can see a little clock that shows how much time it takes to craft the object, as well as all of the raw material you need to make it, which is pretty nice. I like that quite a bit. Makes me tingly deep down inside, except it doesn't, because that's really weird. That's weird on a whole new level. That is strange. Oh, I don't want to think about that anymore. I'm tingling everywhere. Disgusting. Anyway, we're going to throw some more iron into here and start producing even more iron. That was coal, not iron. That's okay. We'll start producing even more iron, because iron is the basis of both the boiler and the steam engine, except we also need another one of our nice little furnaces, which we don't have much stone lying around because I didn't think about it. That's terrible. That's the worst. Okay, now we've got enough to create the offshore pump, the steam engine, and the boiler. So we're going to make all of... Okay, no, never mind. We don't quite have enough. There we go. Now we have enough. There we go. So we had almost enough, and now we have enough. That's nice. So we're going to throw... The offshore pump goes right off of the shore. Crazy concept. Of any section of water. You just throw it down here. It doesn't use any electricity, and it just pumps up water. So we're going to connect it directly to this boiler. This is not an efficient setup, but we're going to do it anyway. because we need to start getting some power up in here, up in this house. And then we will fill that boiler with some coal. But of course, first we need actual things to be used by that. And we're gonna need some copper in order to do that. So we'll make some copper, and what we're going to build are electric drills. This is gonna be perfect. Don't worry about it. You'll see just how good this is in a few moments. Okay, so now we have enough resources after just a bit of work to build ourselves our first electric mining drill. These will be the basis of all resource production from here on out. So we're gonna build ourselves a nice electric mining drill right here. Look at that. How nice is that? Brilliant. We've also got ourselves some telephone poles. These are made right here out of a bit of wood and a bit of copper. Not too hard. We're gonna throw that down there and then connect it up just like that. Perfect. Well, actually, we'll connect it up. Yeah, like that. Okay, it's fine. Don't worry about it. We'll put that there. And then we need to just fill this nice little boiler with coal. And it's going to supply hot water directly into the steam engine to create power. Now, right now, we're not producing much power, and we're not producing it very efficiently at all. But it is being produced, and that is what is important. It's not the quantity that counts, it's the thought, I swear. So now we've got copper production, iron production, albeit on coal. And what we want next is electric coal production, as right now we don't really, have a very efficient system for bringing coal out of the ground. We have to use some of that coal just to get the coal to begin with. And technically, it won't actually change anything what we're about to do, but, we're going to do it anyway. We'll still be using coal to take out coal, but we'll be turning it into electricity first, I consider it more efficient. I don't know if everyone does. Pretty sure most people would, though. So we're going to build another electric drill. And we are going to throw that right down here. Right there. Perfect. Now we just need to build 500 million small electric poles and hope for the best. Because, small electric poles are the worst. We will later get better electric poles that I actually enjoy. But these ones I hate. They are terrible. They make me want to puke! Puke terrible, efficient liquids of death. It's kind of unfortunate and also very strange, but it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll be fine. We'll now have electricity out to this coal dude. And that'll start producing coal for us. Very nice. And now we need just one more singular electric drill, and that should finish off converting our entire system from coal power to electric power. I'm not sure how well we're doing right now. So one thing that for now isn't terribly important, but will become very important in the future, is if you click on any electric pole, you can see this. This is our electric network info. It shows how much electricity we're consuming, how much we're producing, how much is stored up, and yada yada, as well as what's producing and consuming what. So if consumption is above production, this entire bar will be green for consumption. So we are definitely far above production. If we need more electricity, we can of course add on more steam engines and boilers, and we'll go over the actual efficient setup for that later. This is very inefficient, super inefficient in fact, but it's good enough for now. We can amend it once we've got an actual production line. So with that, I've been cooking up a bit of copper and iron down here. So hopefully we have enough to build. Oh, we definitely have enough. We definitely have way more than enough to build our electric mining drill. Actually, I guess not that much more. We can only build one. That's disgusting. We really need to boost our production. So here we go. Now we just need the telephone lines, which will, of course, they're not telephone lines, by the way. They're power lines. They have nothing to do with telecommunication in the slightest, I think. I mean, I can't really be certain of that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. And a little quick tip, if you just hold down left click while you're placing these poles and walk along, it will place the poles at the farthest distance that they can be placed from each other, thereby the most efficient for stringing electricity over long distances. So, you know, little tip there. Okay, so this is our basic setup right now. What we're going to do is take this entire setup and actually make it so that instead of getting ore out of these, we get actual plates of the different material. How are we going to do that, you ask? I'm so glad you asked, because I was going to show you. We're going to do it with a couple little nice nifty pieces. Something called a transport belt and an inserter and a chest, but you know. Later on we won't have the chest, but for now we kind of do need the chest in there. So these will require a lot of iron because we just need a lot of these different pieces. So what we're gonna get is some transport belts, and that will start it out. What we're going to do is create a single circular loop that takes the ore, puts it onto a loop that will then our inserters will pick the ore off of those, put them into furnaces, and then the furnaces will smelt them, pick the resources out of that furnace, and then put it onto a conveyor belt that puts it into a chest. Basic idea. So here we go. First off, we have to take that off. So when working with conveyor belts, one thing that you definitely want to know is that a conveyor belt has two sides. As you can see, we have iron ore going on the left-hand side of this particular conveyor belt. There can also be an equal amount of iron ore on the right-hand side. And we're going to use this to our advantage to pack as much resources on here as possible. So this is going to be the line that's picked from. What we're going to do is build a little loop. And it's going to go around like that. So what this does, it will take in iron from here. The iron enters on this bottom side. It'll go up around and come back and land on the top side. So any iron ore that goes all the way around the system enters in the top section, which is important because that means that we'll be using both sides of the conveyor belt super efficiently. For now, this is a very simple setup. I can assure you, doing that with larger setups with future setups is going to be a lot more complicated, but we're gonna do it because it can't be asked not to. So we've got a couple furnaces there that we just placed down, and we just need to get a bit more resources to build ourselves our first inserters, and we'll learn the basic mechanics of inserters. Unless you already know those, whereas then you're not going to learn it. You'll have already known to begin with, and you can give yourself a gold star for being such a disgusting student. So these are our inserters. They pick from the side that has the yellow flat side is where they pick from. The arrow on the other side is where they put into. These dudes use electricity. When picking, they will pick from either side of a conveyor belt, but they will always put onto the opposite side of the conveyor belt from the one that they're sitting on. We'll see this more in action once we actually get inserters on this side, putting stuff onto these conveyor belts. So these are basic inserters, and they need electricity. So we're going to throw some electrical lines in there, and we're going to fill these dudes with coal. We're going to put our additional inserters down here. Build a little system there. We need more. We need more transport belts! That's not enough transport belts. What are you kidding? What are you on about? There we go. Perfect. Probably shouldn't put it there. We'll put it there, so that we can have a one single conveyor there. Well, actually, we want to leave room to potentially expand out this way. So we're going to have the chest sit right here. So as you can see, these arms are picking plates out of the furnaces and putting them on the opposite side that the inserters are on. They'll never put the plates on that top rack, which is not terribly important right now. I mean, we're not working with too many resources, but in the future, that will be a very important tool that we're going to use to exploit, you know, further creating more efficient systems. So there we go. We've got a basic iron production line, and we will just do the same exact thing with the copper. Literally same exact thing, except we need to fill that burner, or we're going to run out of electricity and everything will go into chaos. The system will be destroyed. The system has already been destroyed. We're doomed. We're doomed. It's over. We're doomed. Okay, so we're gonna make the system a little bit better. Only a little bit better. Once we actually get more efficient systems set up, we'll create a line that actually takes the coal and inserts it into every boiler that can possibly exist. But for now, we're just going to have a box with coal and a picker that will put the coal into the boiler as it uses up that coal. Our production is still at a good level, and there we go. So I'll be back with you in a quick moment, and I'll just create that copper production line that I've spoken of previously. Okay, as you can see, we've got our nice copper facility up and running, and we are now fully automating the production of both iron plates and copper plates. From here, we will be able to actually start doing some basic research into, voila, the research tree, which is extensive. And we'll be able to actually start mass producing some things once we get that all figured out. Because we don't even have the basic pieces needed to actually produce something without us being there. But anyway, that will bring us to the end of our first episode of Factorio, the technical guide to Factorio. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe. Next time, we shall move on to basic technology and expanding these systems, probably making a more efficient steam system as well. Until then, thanks for watching, and of course, enjoy the rest of your day.